record shop. Sat behind the counter in a bright gold top. And every time she looks at me, my heart just stops.
My name is Karl, one of the owners of Looney Tunes record store in West Babylon, New York. Welcome. I wanted to do a little segment where I talk about some of the memorabilia that we have hanging up on the store. So we're going to do a segment called What's on the Wall Wednesdays, where every Wednesday I discuss and talk about some of the things that we have hanging up in the store. Everything that we put up in the store, all the memorabilia, all the autographed items, everything has a story behind it, and these are the story behind those pieces. So for today, I'm going to give you a little cool story. Today we're going to highlight this piece right over here. Right above our door over here, we have a Platinum Award given to Looney Tunes for the Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga Cheek to Cheek album that came out. And it's a cool plaque that was presented to me, but has a little story behind it. I'm a huge Tony Bennett, Frank Sinatra, old crooners fan. And I think Lady Gaga is incredibly talented, and the fact that she loves Tony Bennett as much as a lot of us do, I thought it was pretty cool. And they were one of the first to do a collaboration, kind of like with a new artist and an older artist, and Tony Bennett was always an icon to Lady Gaga, and it was cool they did this record together. But when they're doing this record together, Interscope, the record company, during the week of the release, the record got released, and then about 5 days after the record release, they were fighting for the #1 spot on the Billboard charts. Apparently, Tony Bennett had never had a #1 record. And I don't know if Gaga did at that time yet, but she may have. But it was really important to Lady Gaga that they get a #1 record for Tony Bennett, because he had never had an album debut at #1. So this was a really, really big priority for those guys. And here we are, 2 days before the end of the week. How the Billboard charts work are all the sales are accumulated during the week, and then the album charts come out the following week, and you see what the #1 record of the week is. So they were really close, and they were fighting with somebody else. I forget who it was that week. There was another big artist that had a record that came out, and they were kind of fighting to see who was going to get #1 and who was going to get #2, and they were super, super close. So the team at Interscope and I were working together, and we were selling a lot of this release, and they said, we need to sell a couple thousand more pieces, but we only have like 1 day to do it. How are we going to do it? So I said, well, we could work with Lady Gaga, and maybe she could sign some booklets for us. And this is years ago. I forget what year the release came out. I have to check. Maybe you could put a footnote on the video what year it came out. This is way before a lot of bands and labels did autograph booklets or internet promotions and stuff like that. But what we got them to do was sign some autograph booklets for us, and Lady Gaga actually called out our store on her social media, and you know how powerful that could be if Lady Gaga's got millions and millions and millions of followers, and she helped push Looney Tunes in the sale that we were doing for this piece. And we ended up selling about, I think it was about 3,000 units in like 1 day, all off that one social post from Gaga. And because of our sales that day, that last day of counting, we had a line out the door. It was amazing. The next morning, right after she posted, we had this huge line out, and we sold literally thousands of the record in 1 day, and it was pretty amazing. And then it turns out the next day the record charts came out, and Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett got the #1 record in the world. And we can say that Looney Tunes was a very, very big part of that. If we didn't jump in at the last minute and work with our dear friends at Interscope Records, some of our friends that we've had for so years, and they're such a great record label, and they work so closely with us even to this day, we could not thank them enough for their continued support and past support. But it was really cool that, Looney Tunes was the reason why Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett got the #1 record on that. And then a couple weeks later, I don't know if they made that many of them, but as a thank you, they sent us that plaque to hang up in our store. And that's the story of why that's hanging on the wall, Looney Tunes.